Hello and welcome to There's No Business Like, a podcast where friends and industry colleagues explore topics and interview leaders in our industry of professional theatrical touring.
Hello and welcome back, fam. Thanks for tuning into the Dopest Performing Arts and Touring Podcast. I'm Kevin Maynard, and I'm joined by the goats in the arts podcasting world, no cap. Brian.
Meh. Hi, Kevin. Brian Zelmer, director of KU Presents.
Danielle.
My favorite thing about Kevin is that he's always honest. Danielle Van Hook from the Alden in McLean, Virginia.
Katie.
I've always wanted to be called the greatest of all time, so thank you for that, Kevin. Katie Miller, Midland Center for the Arts in Midland, Michigan.
And Josh.
My favorite thing about Kevin is his mustache, but really nothing else. Josh Benson from Marion, Illinois at the Marion Cultural and Civic Center.
Great mustache, terrible personality.
You should put that on your business card.
I actually do have the mustache on the business card. That's true. You may have gathered by my chuggy opening that we are going to start today with a little game on slang.
Perfect.
So first, I need you all to create your own buzzer noise.
Bzz.
Burp, 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 burp.
This is perfect.
Mine's not done.
Right,
Hold on.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so to start this off, I am going to give you a term, and if you know what that term is or think you do, I just need you to buzz in or blow in if you're Brian. We're going to start with the term darty or dager.
Burp, 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 burp.
Benson.
One who likes to throw darts.
Oh, that's good. That's good. It's wrong. But
Wait. Time out. Is this going to be another one of those Bill Blagg episodes where you don't tell us the answers? I need to know this up front. I will not participate.
I will tell you the answers. I promise. No, Josh, that is incorrect. Does anybody else want to take a guess before we move on? Danielle.
Is it like something bad?
No. A darty or a dager is a day party or a day rager, what we would call day drinking. Next up is the word zaddy.
Bzz, bzz.
Katie.
Very sexy older gentleman.
So technically, yes, but in the new age, like for younger generations, a zaddy is just a well-dressed man of any age.
I think she gets the points.
So Katie, that's 10 points.
Yes.
Next up is the word chuggy. Danielle.
Bad. Like old-fashioned, like it's not cool.
Yeah. You know what? I will give it to you. Basically, it's outdated or somebody who is trying too hard. The term eight.
Burp, 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 burp.
Benson.
Like the dancer killed it. Like they did a great job.
That's right. Totally eight. What about the word delulu?
Delusional.
Nailed it, Danielle. What about the term? Oh, crap. Where did it go? Brian.
Hold on, my buzzer's almost done. It means I don't know what I did with something.
Oh, nice job,
Thank
Brian.
you. What points do I get?
Yeah. You get a couple. What about the term beat your face? Danielle.
Good makeup.
Yeah. Yep. Well, congratulations, Danielle. I think you definitely won this. Well, fam, thanks for playing this game with me. You'll hear shortly in the conversation that I had with my friend Jorge Casco that we talk almost nothing about slang, but it is a reference for a hot minute. And honestly, it's a pretty deep interview, so I thought we could start off with a little bit of fun. So please enjoy my conversation with Jorge Casco.
My name is Jorge Casco. I'm the executive director for Fly Dance Company.
Jorge, thanks for sitting down and having this conversation with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Let's dive in and let's talk about Fly Dance Company. For anybody who may not know what your company is or what you do, can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. What we do is we blend classical music with street dance. So we basically have break dancers in tuxedos with tails, with symphonies behind us, symphonic music, or, to track. But that's kind of like our niche, introducing street dance to more, what do you say, like patrons of the arts, and then introducing, classical music to the youth.
Do you do anything with Fly Dance Company off the stage as well when you're visiting towns?
100%. I make it a point for us to visit community centers, detention centers, any type community-based organizations that allow us to kind of, what we say, like touch the people and be able to go in those spaces, and present something that's palatable for them and seeing themselves on stage, you know, like seeing a reflection of who we are and who they are in the community, you know.
How did you get started in dancing?
Short story, long story.
However you want to take it. We've got some time, so if you want to do the long story, let's do it.
Okay, here it is. I'm going to be 100% transparent. So moved from Los Angeles, California, to Texas when I was about 13 years old. We moved into these apartments. The day we move in, my neighbor gets killed. Sitting in class, and there's a knock on the door at the classroom. There's a cop at the door, and he goes, he started rattling off names. So-and-so, 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 Jorge Casco. There's like 7 of us. So they took everybody that lived in the apartments and lined them up. And we were standing there. They were taking pictures of us. Turn to the right, turn to the left. And we're used to this, unfortunately, our upbringing, you know. So we're always lived in fear when it comes to the authorities. So you do as you're told. They're taking pictures of us. And we're looking around. And we're just joking. This is normal. We're just talking. And then one of the guys goes, hey, did you live in Shadowdale? Like, yeah. He's like, you need a ride home? I was like, I guess. So we're walking. And there's like a group of guys. And there's like a group of girls. And they all started walking together, and then it's like almost like 10 of us, and we're standing in front of this long Cadillac, and they're like, get in. So we all pile in, legs sticking out everywhere. We're driving down the street. We get to the house, get to the apartments, and we get out. I started walking towards my house, and the guys are like, you're not gonna come hang out with us? We're like, I'm going home. Like, you're not gonna go practice? Like, practice what? I don't play sports. One of the guys does a flip. Like, oh, snap. Like, y'all flip? Like, yeah, we break dance. Like, what? Y'all B-boys? Like, yeah. I was like, I don't know. A couple of the other girls and the other dudes were like, yeah, come on. I was like, well, all right, that's cool. You know, they invited me, okay. I didn't want to be. Yeah. So I just sat there for weeks, and I would just sit there and watch them break dance or break, you know, doing some breaking. So they're dancing. I was really shy when it came to that, but I would go home and practice in my room. And I remember sitting there, trying to do this move, and it was just something in my spirit that wanted to do it. I remember doing the move, and it was like, I remember I could see, like, it's like I spent all night trying to do it, and I'm like, you know, if I don't do it this time, it's a wrap. And it's like 10 minutes before I gotta leave to go to school, and I do, it's called a swipe or a baby roll, and I do the actual move, boom, 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 and I landed, boom. And I started jumping on the bed, and my brothers, we shared a room, and I'm jumping. My mom busts in there. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, she's like, oh, get ready to go to school, whatever. I'm just like super hyped. First time I challenged myself to do something like that, and then it's just like I got the move, you know. So we cut to lunch. Everyone's practicing. We used to practice in front of the payphones. So we got the boombox rocking. We got everybody out there looking. And I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, I'm going to go in. And then I just like, don't do it. So we have 2 lunches. The first lunch, well, it was supposed to be 1 lunch, but I went to the second lunch because we wanted to practice, right? So kids, if you're listening, don't do this, right? We don't approve this. But I'm in the second lunch, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. And I did it. I did the move. And then everybody was like, what? Literally throw me in the air and stuff. And then from there, I just got the confidence to like do it, right? And one move became another move. Then we started winning the local competitions and stuff, you know. It was interesting because we used to get arrested for breakdancing at the school, you know. But we knew in our hearts we weren't doing anything wrong, you know.
Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, as to why you got arrested doing breaking?
Because we were in a club. We weren't like the Glee Club or whatever. Like the cheerleaders would do flips and stuff on the grass and stuff like that, and on the concrete where we practiced too. But they're connected with the school. I don't know if it was like an insurance thing or like liability type thing or something, but they didn't let us. Like they were just like, you know, you can't practice in the hallway. You know, you're doing two. Like it's like they saw us as like instead of us being a club, we were a gang. If it was 2 or 3 of us, it was split up. Pick your pants up. But at that time, it was like the baggy jean coats and that whole look, you know. And it's like we're wearing size 38 pants and these white jean coats, and it was just like the vibe, you know. At the time, I don't know why they arrested. You know, obviously, they didn't understand it. It was real early, you know. We would go to the mall, same thing. They would just arrest us, you know. And I'll be sitting in a cell for breakdancing, for dancing. You know, and my parents would come up there and pick me up, and my dad was like a blue-collar guy. Like, what are you doing this stuff for? Get out of here, man. you're wasting your life. You're never going to do nothing. Go to school, be a doctor, go learn how to weld or do something, like bouncing around with your friends, cleaning up the floor. My mom was always like, just, if you're going to do it, don't do it at the school, do it at home, or don't do it at the mall, do it at your friend's house or something, because all you're out doing is just dancing, you know? Mm-hmm. I don't understand. I still don't understand it, you know? They I don't know. They just saw it as a threat or something.
So you started dancing at 14, and then obviously you've kept with it. What was the next step in that? Because obviously you've taken it from, you know, doing it at friends' house, streets, malls, now to doing it professionally. So what is that transition like? What was the next step in your journey?
It was honestly, it's like I think hip hop culture within itself just spoke to me, right? And I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I had to do it. It just took over me. Like, you know, I was just like tunnel vision. My grades weren't great. I had a learning disability. I didn't know that. You know, I'm dyslexic, you know, and numbers jump around. Like right here it says like. I'm holding, for our listeners, I'm holding like the koozie. And for me it says EKIL. So I have to look at this a few times and I would get frustrated. So for me, I wasn't able to express myself and be academically at the top. It allowed me to express myself in a different way, and I used art and drawing as a way to escape a lot of violence growing up. As a young kid, people died in front of me, you know, and I used the arts and the dancing as a way to kind of escape, like, you know, just kind of even like the story, as we started off the story, it's like moving to these apartments and it's like the neighbor, you know, gets shot or whatever. It's normal, right? At that time, you know, what's happening.
So you were using dancing as a way to escape.
Yeah, but not even knowing that that's what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I'm just like, you just living. You get up, you play hip, you're listening to rap music, right? And then it's like you're drawing. So then you're naturally going into graffiti, right? And you're going outside at the party, your friends DJing. It's just what it was. It's not what we're trying to do, you know. Houston, we have screw down music and slow down music, you know. A lot of that was happening too. That was also associated with lean and things of that nature that in the Houston subculture is frowned upon, you know. And it's what a lot of these rappers are talking about today and what a lot of the youth are dealing with sort of pharmaceuticals and all that thing. But I don't want to veer off. But the reality of it is that it spoke to me. I had friends that were in the streets doing things that they should have been doing. I ran with a group of guys. We're living that life, you know. And for me, I grew up in a loving household. Both of my parents, but my dad was working and did the best. We're a big family. Yeah. So, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. I have 5 sisters, 2 younger brothers. And as much as they poured into me, it's just like when you live in these environments, it's hard to pinpoint. And we lived in a time, we were latchkey kids, you know, at the time where, you know, where you can go outside and run around and come in before the lights, before it gets dark. And we were just outside, like I'm not trying to be like swaggy and talk like that, talk as far as like being out here. We were just outside running around, throwing rocks, hopping fences, being silly, you know, just being a kid, you know. And it spoke to us because it was something different. Parents didn't like it. The powers that be, you know, going back to the question you said earlier, and I'm thinking about it now. It's like they were just people. It was hip hop was at that time. It was like 20 years old, maybe starting in the 70s, 80s. You know, so it's like thinking about like a 21-year-old running around. Yeah, right? That's how young the culture was. So people were afraid of it. You know what I mean? It was empowering, you know, and the message that was happening, you know what I mean? As far as the music, you know, people could say it was negative. It went from Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5 and like that type of music to the hippie to the hop, you know, like, which is like the core of it, which was fun and about community. Then it turned into gangster rap and then developed into like what we have now, which is drill, where these kids are speaking on committing crimes and actually going forth and doing it, right? There's a lot to unpack there, but for me, it was something that I finally belonged, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it gave me like I said, I wasn't that great at sports, you know? I had asthma growing up, you know, it's like a nerdy kid, and all of a sudden I'm getting picked on in my neighborhood, and I have no identity, I don't know what I am. I'm just like a kid struggling to figure out life and not trying to get killed walking to school, and all these pressures and everything. So it's just like, I can't think and study. I'm frustrated. I have these learning disabilities I don't even know, and it was just like, but then practicing that move and then doing it, it's just like, I'm good at something.
Did you do anything else like in the hip hop culture like that? I mean, to do like DJing, stuff like that. I mean, can you talk a little bit about just sort of like hip hop as a culture and sort of some of how those things are sort of intertwined? Yeah,
it's dance, there's art, there's poetry, and there's music. On hip hop, there's breaking, the DJ who plays the music, the rhythm and the poetry, the rappers, you know, the acronym for rap. You have the MC, who's also the poet. So the MC, the DJ, graffiti artists, and then the breakers, you know. All of those things combined together is the hip-hop culture. There's other elements too. Some people say knowledge is an element. Some people say that freestyling. Some people say beatboxing, right?
And did you do or dabble in all of them?
Yeah, I tried. I couldn't afford the turntables, so my friend was the DJ, and I would go over there, and I just just didn't have it. You know, I can make the. That's it. That's as good as I can get. I was good with the graffiti art or like sketching, kind of how I entered it before the dancing. You know, I was okay at it, but then it's just like I couldn't afford to paint, and I'm not really. When growing up, like stealing from me wasn't the thing, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't want to steal because I can't afford these paints, you know. And if you want to be a real like graffiti artist, you have to like hit the walls.
Yeah.
And that's why I was hopping fences when I shouldn't have. Unfortunately, one of my friends got hit by a car while we were doing that, and then I was like, it's a rap, you know, like I'm not going to do that. And then tried the rapping thing, you know. Kind of later on in life, but always you rapping along to the music. So like it's like, you know, like I'm 14 years old. I'm waking up, radio is on. My brother's practicing his moves, or I'm working on my moves. It just roll out of bed and just okay. Put the music on, you're just like, oh, what's this? It makes me just want to dance. You start grooving and stuff, you know. And then just like we're going to your friend's house, and he's, all right, what time you gonna practice? We're going to my friend Gilbert's house, and he's over there scratching it, and we're just dancing.
Interesting. Without you realizing it, like you were creating at a young age. I mean, and you were just having a good time, feeling the music and doing that, and not necessarily thinking about it.
As you're telling me, right, like, I guess we were, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, you were rehearsing or practicing, like, without
crazy.
even doing it.
Yeah,
like, you were just thinking, like, oh, like, this is something fun. This is what I like to do. I mean, you know, we talk about the concept of putting in the time, the 10,000 hours, and that's what you were doing without.
I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, like you weren't like, oh, I'm going to the studio to
blow up head erosion.
Hey, like you weren't going to the studio to be like, oh, I need to practice today. Like you were just doing it because that's who you were.
Yeah, it's like as natural as breathing. You know what I mean? It's like you get up and you just do it. You know.
So at what point in that did you start doing this professionally?
I saw Fly perform at Miller Outdoor Theater. One of my friends had passed away, and we were celebrating his life. And Miller Outdoor Theater's an amphitheater in Houston, Texas. There, I'm walking up the hill, and I hear this piece of classical music by Debussy, Clair de Lune. And there's a guy on a skateboard going across the stage doing ballerina moves on top of the skateboard, and the whole place is roaring with laughter. There's about 3,000 to 4,000 people there. Wow. I'm a street dancer at this time. We're breakdancing in our rooms and kind of leveled up. We started it was just like they invited us to these parties and we started breakdancing there. And then we heard about this underground competition and we entered it. And then we lost and then we would win and then we'd win some, lose some, win some, lose some. And then we became the best group in our group in our neighborhood, and we would go to other schools within our. In Spring Branch, we would go battle, compete, and then we'd take their best guy and add him to our group, right? And then at the same time, we're getting locked up and we're getting arrested. So when we're walking up that hill, not knowing this, I walk up, and everything I'm getting arrested for is on that stage. And I'm just like, holy, you know?
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't doing anything wrong. Like it was like validation. And I was like, I looked at the guys, I was like, I'm going to be in that group one day. Everybody laughed at me. Man, shut up, man.
And how old were you at this point?
14.
14.
Yeah. And it blew my mind. I didn't even know, like, I'm getting kind of emotional about it right now. And, you know, I promise I wasn't going to do this. And I don't like going there, dude. It's a lot of love there. It's a lot of pain. Because a lot of my friends didn't get that opportunity to see that.
Yeah.
You know? And it's that moment, it's that aha moment for me. And there was a lot of my friends that were there that aren't with me right now, that aren't here. Some of them behind bars, you know, and some of them we had to bury, and I was just focusing and just watching, and it was just unbelievable. That's when I saw Fly for the first time.
So 14 years old, see fly, and have that. I mean, you basically spoke it into existence that you're like, I'm going to be in that group.
Yeah.
What's the next step? How do you say it and then
I don't know.
realize that visualization? I mean, did you just like start reaching out to them, keep in touch? I mean,
At this time, I don't even know how to even get in contact with them or anything, you know? Whatever your belief system is, right? To each his own. I feel like whatever the higher power or God, or it was just like destined, because I see fly, and then I'm actually doing a summer program without doing a summer program. I'm 14 years old. I'm breakdancing in front of the middle school. I'm a high school student. I shouldn't be at the middle school. And because they had like smooth concrete, because we're getting arrested at the high school, all right? So we're like, we're going to go somewhere else. And we like find some smooth concrete. And here comes the principal, start grabbing our stuff. I'm like, go. He's like, no. Relax. It's okay. Like, nah, we know what this is. You're just trying to hold us up before we, no. Let's go. Come on. Hey, grab the stuff. Let's go. Hey, yo. Everyone starts running. And he's like, wait, stop. It's okay. His voice, the way he said it, I said, y'all chill. Everybody chill. He's like, come back. It's okay. Don't worry about it. He's like, you can dance. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Like, for real? Like, yeah. I'd rather you be here than going back over there. Like, no, but we live there. He's like, oh, you live there? Oh, God. Okay, stay here. You're like, okay. We should start talking. He's like, you see that group of kids back there? Like, those are my little troublemakers back there. I look back, my little brothers in that group. Like, yeah, what are you doing? You know? Like, what are you doing, man? I'm like, get over here. He's like, I've never seen him sit that still. Mr. Johnson, wherever you're at, I love you, man. Because you talk to us, you know, like normal people. So he's like, why don't you teach him some stuff? I was like, why don't you let me use your gym? He goes, why don't you give me a performance? I was like, that's going to run you some Gatorade. He goes, I can't do Gatorade, so we can't do a performance then. And started walking. I was like, all right, hold on, you know. He's like, all right, well, we could do Gatorade. I was like, oh, I need some shirts too. You know, if we can do a performance, we need some shirts. So I can't do that. I was like, all right, well, we can do the performance. He's like, all right, okay, you got it. I was like, bet. So 14, I'm teaching the class at the middle school. And then my first deal, get some shirts and Gatorade, you know, for the guys, you know. I take care of my crew.
you know, I love that, because at that age, it would have been really easy for you to say, like, yeah, you're going to give me a spot to perform, like, I will do it. But you were practicing what we always preach about, like, knowing your worth and, you know, not giving everything away. And so you were like, yeah, no, like, it's going to cost you to do this. And in this sense, it was shirts and Gatorade.
Yeah, I come from a large family. My dad always said, you always got to look out for your little brothers and your sisters. You can't be selfish. It's not about you. If they're hungry, you give it to them. You know. So for me, it was the same. It was like a brotherhood with those guys. You know, we've been chased by the cops. We've been arrested together. People are dying left and right. Those are my guys. I trust them in my life. I wasn't getting it for me. I was getting it for them. One of the guys didn't have a shirt, and we couldn't afford to give them one. So, hey, you got to get us all shirts. No, we all got shirts. We do the performance. He didn't pay me in a sense, right? Mm-hmm. He opened that opportunity, so we did like a 2-minute routine. We thought it took us forever to do it. But we got it done. We used his kids, the middle school kids too. And then he goes, hey, here, Jorge, would call me George at the time. He's like, George, thank you guys. And the group was called the Little Rascals. Thank you, the Little Rascals. And in exchange for your services, George, I want to thank you. Put your hands together for Fly Dance Company. I almost myself. Now those superheroes are in front of me.
Is this the same? Like, how much time has passed between the time you've seen them and to the time that this happens? A couple of years, or
no? It had to be like either, if it's not weeks, months, maybe. It's in the same year.
Yeah. Wow.
Know? I just like, it's all a blur now. It's, you know, the older I get, it gets a little foggier.
Yeah.
These years.
It happens.
You know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it just, I don't know, it was just like God sent, or, you know, the universe aligned it. I don't know why or what. And I'm like, these are the guys. And then they're arguing with, that's not them. This is different. This is what we like. Because they're just raw. Breaking, doing the moves, the rawness of it. It wasn't with costumes and the whole classical music. They're dancing to hip-hop. And they're coming out. And they're all dressed alike but different, just wearing the same color scheme, but they all have their own, what we call sauce or flavor. I'm showing my age, or with the kids, I don't know what they call now, swag or whatever. I'm not trying to keep up with all the lingo, but they had this It wasn't like, it's confidence. They were really good and they were young. 14, they had to be 18. You know, it was just like, we could connect the dots. They were like pop stars, you know, like at least to me, you know. But as soon as they stepped out there, everyone was screaming, ah! And I'm just sitting there like, grab the camera, big old VHS thing, you know, on my shoulder. It was just like, here comes Kathy Wood, country. Hey, y'all, you can't record here. What are you doing? Get out the way. You don't have permission to do that. And I'm gonna move out the way, lady. Watch out, I'm trying to move, catch these moves, move. So I'm running around the gym trying to record the stuff, you know what I mean? And at the end of that performance, we learned where hip-hop started, what it was, the history of street dance, you know, and they did a piece of classical music, you know, they did out of context one of our classical pieces when she put them in baggy pants, put tuxedos with tails on them, you know.
And she being Kathy Wood?
Kathy Wood, the founder of Fly.
Gotcha.
And I gave her my card. No, you know, excuse me, I didn't have a card. She gave me her card. I'm in business mode, right?
Yeah.
She gave me her card and said, call me. I'm going to Europe. I'm going to call you before I go. So she left for a month and never called me. And this is a long time where you have the cord phone.
Oh, yeah.
So he pulled it all the way to the front of the apartment, and it wouldn't go out the door. It was right by the door, and I would open the door like, Ma, did she call? Like, no, Papa. I'm like, okay, hang you. Every 10 minutes, 20 minutes, we're practicing. We used to practice in front of the apartments, and now we're like, hey, yo, crew meeting, we're practicing in my house now, and if you don't like it, you're out the crew. You know, just you know, silly politics, right? So then we're all in the back. This concrete's unlevel, it sucks. What do we got to? She said she was gonna call. Man, that lady ain't finna call you, man. What are you doing? You know, whatever, man. No, she's gonna call. She doesn't call. Now I'm looking dumb in front of my friends, like, man. Well, now I'm just mad. So I'm walking to the store. I'm like, we'll get some Dr. Pepper, some Cheetos. If you're not from Texas, Dr. Pepper is like king in Texas, right? So we go grab, I remember vividly like it was yesterday, walking to the store, opening the gate, go get my Cheetos. I'm coming back. I'm about to go back through the gate, and I see a Volvo. I remember that was her car, and it's Kathy, and I literally dropped my soda. Chips are going everywhere. I'm running across the street. I almost got hit by a car. How are you gonna come in? You say you're gonna come in like a little chihuahua nipping at her heel. You know? She's like, grab that box, move this, hold this, let's go. And at that time, I was like a little scrawny little kid. I'm the peewee, right, of everybody. So she thought I was a middle school student. So she's walking in to do an after-school program. I go in there, and she's like, you're gonna come back tomorrow? I was like, yeah. So I kept going over there, but I wasn't supposed to be there. And I didn't say nothing. And then one day she's like, the principal comes in, she's like, what are you doing here? And she just real quick snapped, and she was like, he's my assistant. And I was like, oh, she's down. Yeah. She was like, back. I was like, all right. You know, she's like, I'm gonna talk to you later. Shut up. I was like, yes, ma'am. You know, kind of how I started working with her. You know what I mean? But she thought I was a student, and she brought me in. And I wanted to be around her so bad. Like, I wanted to learn and all that. And I was jealous because the middle school kids like, this is what I want. Like, what? How come this is not the high school? Like, man, I was really upset. And I was like, man, I would leave there. I was like, man, this sucks, man. We don't have nothing like this. And I was like, Miss Kathy, can you please work with us? And she's like, I don't have the time. I'm sorry. But you could come back to the class. I was like, man. There was a talent show at school. And she's like, please, 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 can you please? She's like, no. For 3 months, I'm like, she finally is like, okay, I'm giving you 15 minutes on a Tuesday, once a week. If you're late, never again. Here's another story. I mean, this is crazy, dude. I haven't talked about this in a long time. We're practicing in front of the payphones, like we talked about earlier. Auditorium is about 100 yards from the payphones. There's a patch of grass, then smooth concrete, grass, like rough concrete, auditorium. In front of the door of the auditorium, there's backpacks lined up all the way across. Like the dance team left their backpacks there, and there's a radio on top. We have cassette tape. Put the cassette into the radio, we press play, walk across the grass, back into the smooth area. And we're just practicing the whole time. One of the dance girls walks up, goes and sees that we're using the tape player, and she runs off, right? This time, we're still not putting two and two yet. They're on the field practicing with the band and stuff. We're far away, removed from the situation. We're whatever. So we're practicing. Next thing you know, we start hearing sirens. We start hearing the cop cars pull up. You know, the radios are going like, man, someone's in trouble. Doing my moves, freeze upside down. I see the feet coming. They draw down on us. They pull out. Get up. Get onto the wall. Get on the wall. Now. They throws against the wall. Boom, boom, boom. I was like, okay, this been happening since I was in 3rd grade. No procedure. Don't fight. Just boom, boom. They're roughing us up. Dance drill team comes up. I'm bleeding from the nose, whatever. They're roughing us up like they always do. They throw us on the ground, handcuffs. And we're like, all right, just let us go. You're not doing it to shut up. Boom. You know, the dance director comes up. Check all your backpacks. Make sure nothing was taken. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, now I'm trying to tell the cop we're practicing to meet Kathy. Now we are supposed to meet her. I'm trying to tell the cops we have to meet Miss Kathy. I don't give a bloop who Kathy is. So they go through it. Kathy hits the corner and she's like, what are you doing? She goes right up to the cop. What are you doing? And what are you doing with these young men? He was like, we're taking them for what? For what? You know, like, she's like, what are you talking about? She was waving her finger in his face, and I couldn't believe, you know, she's like, at this time, she was in her 60s, I think.
Wow.
She was retired. So she's waving the finger in the cop. He's like, I'm arresting them. You can't arrest them. What are you talking about? This is like blowing her mind, right? We're going to arrest them because they're not club. She goes, yes, they are. Who's their teacher? She goes, I am. She uncuffs us and everything. She's like, you know, rubbing our wrists and stuff. She goes, get in that cafeteria now. And I don't know what she was telling them, but hands are flaying, and the cops are like taking a step back. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, the principal comes, and it's a whole thing. And she like, I don't know, she just, whatever. We're just like looking at the window, like, oh, man. Like, we're in trouble. But we're thinking we did something wrong. We're like, man, I told you. Now we're arguing. Man, I told you not to do. Why you messing with that? I told you not to mess with that boombox. Blah blah blah. Whatever. But we ain't doing nothing wrong, man. We really didn't. Like, yeah, man. But you know how they treat us. Like, you know, we can't do that. Like, next time we just gotta bring our own boombox. But then they're gonna take it from us because we're not supposed to bring that stuff to school. It's just like a revolving door, right? We can't do nothing right. We can't get right. She walks in, and she's tough over there. And she's crying, and she's like, you don't deserve this. It's not fair. She goes, I'm coming for an hour. We can do 3 days a week. Long story long, for all our listeners, right? I'll wrap it up. We're there, dude, and she, it's a talent show. We win the talent show. You know, we get $500, and we have a crew meeting again. All right, we're gonna give this to Miss Kathy as a thank you.
So Kathy's in her 60s, which I did not expect from
late 50s.
Late 50s, yeah.
She already had retired from school.
Yeah, so she
did like 30-something years.
What made Kathy want to start a hip hop dance company?
I don't know if she wanted to. It just kind of happened. Kathy came up and danced. You know, she was a twirler. She's like the Rockettes, but in Texas, the Kilgore Rangerettes. So it's that version of her. Yeah. She was a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. She was young, and then became the Kansas City Chiefs. The whole thing, right? So then she came. She's a small town girl in Orange, Texas. Didn't want to get married right away. From at that time, she was like talking about fighting for women's rights and stuff, doing her thing, right? She's like, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna go be an art major and do this. And she paid her college through twirling lessons and stuff. She does the Texas drill team. She's winning all these competitions. She's like in the Dance Hall of Fame in Texas. She's part of a few select group that kind of introduced dance, like ballet and tap and jazz, like into the dance into the dance programs. Like in Texas, there weren't a lot of those. It was just like military style. She revolutionized it at that time. So she has success in that. Her daughter wants to start a dance company because she's doing it with her daughter. Yeah. And then they remodeled her living room, and they create like a makeshift dance studio. So she goes to a festival called the Westheimer Street Festival in Houston. These guys are just dancing out there. She comments on one of the dude's dreadlocks. Hey, I love your hair. Blah, blah, blah. She finds out that they're dancers. She's like, what, you guys? Like, wait, I don't see guys dance. Like, what do you guys practice? Like, right, we're practicing right now. She's on the street. So she invites them over to the house, and, you know, and it's like in a nice area. You know, she lives in, you know, her and her husband were well off at this moment, you know. These guys show up, they knock on the door. Her husband opens the door. He's like, "Oh, can I?" It's Mike. He's like, "Can I help you guys?" He's like, "Oh, there they are. Hey guys, come in." She has like cookies and like baked cookies and like lemonade, and they just kept coming back. And she would just like open up her home. They would practice breakdance and stuff, breaking in the living room. And she was just enamored by it. Like she's just like it was just like, what is this? And she just trusted him. She's like, I don't know. She said, I just loved them. Like it was just so sweet, and they're just funny. We're just having a good time, and
Yeah, she saw. I mean, she met and found interesting folks, and then just like found a new dance form.
She's an artist, She's at the art scene. She's like, whatever. Like, who cares? Like, come on.
Good for her. I mean, that's an incredible story. I mean, just. Total happenstance. I mean, which is why, when you said she was older, I was like, that was very surprising to me.
And the cool part is also, it's like, she's coming off like this great success, and then her daughter starts her dance company. She's helping her a little bit, but then her daughter's like, I kind of want to do my thing. She backs off. Okay, you do your thing. Yeah. And then there's this clay that's just there. She's like, she's gonna mold some stuff, right? She's just like, hey. What about, this is some powerful, have you guys ever performed classical music? Like, what? That she hears, like, there's an adjudicated concert. Mm-hmm. So she submits the video. Well, she submits, like, the concept and stuff, and they get, like, the finale position. She's like, oh, crap. Like, she goes, I didn't know this was going to happen. I just knew it was just amazing. So the guys and that's what she knows. She comes from competition. So she's like, we got to do something outside the box, right? She's like, I don't want to change you. We're just going to add something to you. So you can wear whatever you want. They wear these long sleeve shirts. Okay, but we're going to make them a little bit more colorful. We're going to wear a purple shirt. And you're going to keep your jeans, okay? We're going to put a tuxedo with tails on you, like the coat. Yeah. You don't have to wear the bow tie or nothing, like I have the guys now, like all the way, Yep. But like it evolved into that, but it was like the rawness was just the coat, right? So all right, it kind of looks cool, so they approved, you know what I mean? And they're not fly dance company at this point. They're just a crew, just a street crew, It's blurry story. Like I don't know if they had a name or they didn't have the name at the time, and they got the finale position, and it just kind of took Houston by storm. Like they started getting invited to all these places. So some of the guys in the group wanted to kind of keep it raw still, and then half of them were like, "Oh, this is cool because I like it." So. After like maybe that was in 93, 94, they kind of like disband, and in 95, she takes 3 of those guys and makes Fly Dance Company.
Wow.
I told Kathy, and she attested this. She said that I told her, it's like, you're the first white person that was ever nice to me.
Wow. Wow.
And because growing up, I never saw color, right? I had kids in my neighborhood, we had all races, right?
Yeah.
Mainly Latino and African American, and a little bit of scattered in between. But the authorities were like, the Caucasian folk, Mm-hmm. But we weren't like, we didn't hate them. We just know that they would get us in trouble because they were the law, Wow. And the teachers were like, I didn't see too many teachers of my ethnicity at the school, but they were always just like, it was always like getting in trouble. And it had to be that. And it's like, well, it was the brown kids getting into trouble. We're doing bad stuff. And then the authorities, the judges, and all this. We just wasn't a reflection of what we saw. We were just afraid that if something went wrong, so we had to walk on eggshells around the teachers and the principals and the powers that be. With Kathy, she was the first person that like didn't talk down to me. She talked to me. And as an educator, with my kids, before we start classes or whatever, I'm like, everybody take a sit down, and 2 things are gonna happen in this class. You're either gonna become a problem or we're gonna have a good time. All right? I'm not talking down to you. I'm talking to you eye to eye. I'm showing you respect. You guys wanna have some fun? And Kathy taught me that because that's how she treated me, and she made me feel safe. And okay, cool. And then opened up, the wheels, because dancing to classical music, it's not fun at that time. Now I love it, but I didn't know about it. I was like, this is boring stuff. What are we doing, But I seen Fly, the other group, do it, so they made it cool. So I'm in, I'm all in, And then I started listening to the pockets and how the music moves, and you know, and then the strings here, and then, you know, the horn section is here. And she would like, yeah, you gotta choreograph not just to the bass line or to the drum line, choreograph to the flute that's in the background. I want you to move that. You're dancing to the piccolo, you're dancing to the, you know, cello or whatever, and then it's just adding those little accents. And then that's the school of Kathy there. Boom, you know, like let's think outside the box. You know, we did some classical this time. We're gonna do Nat King Cole.
What is your trajectory with Fly?
I saw Fly, started working with him, 17, and then we had Mike's coming to these conferences, and then we got like I graduated high school 2 weeks later. I remember coming to New York, you know, showcasing and
wow.
you know, doing performances in New York, and you know, so we're like graduating, going, and I'm gone. I'm in New York. I'm performing. It's like the Ninja Turtles gonna pop up out of nowhere. There's pizza and the smoke coming out the sewers, and it was like, yo, it's 1999, 2000 or something. You know, New York is different then too, you know. But it was just like wow. I told my friend. I remember we had a sleepover one day, and we were like 14, and we were spending the night at his house. And I was like, in my head, I was like, we could dance all over the world. He starts laughing. I was like, one day we're going to be in New York. We're going to be in New York. We're going to be breakdancing. And my homeboy's like, man, shut up. What are you talking about? Isaac, if you hear this, you remember that. He goes, shut up. Like, no, we're not, dog. That's what we used to talk. No, you're not. I'm dumb. Whatever. I was like, we're gonna be in New York. And then that day when we're taking this trip to New York, the whole time he's avoiding me. He's not looking me in the eye. But I'm not putting two and two together, you know. So him and the other dude are hanging out. And me and the other dude are hanging out. And the whole time he's avoiding me. And we opened. I remember we didn't have an elevator. 6th floor, tons of bags, everything. And we opened the window. It's like in the movies, you know?
Yeah.
And I stick my head out the window, and it's an apartment, and he sticks his head out the other window. And I look at him. He goes, I knew you were going to say something. I go, I didn't even say, what are you talking about? I knew you were going to say something. I was like, what are you talking about? What, that I told you? And we hugged there, and we were crying, you know?
That's a huge moment. I mean, that's
1,000%, dude. That was amazing, you know? I feel like I made it just there.
Yeah.
You know, that was just the beginning. Like I told you, we got story for days. We got a lot of stories, you know. I'm not used to talking to, like, I'm very comfortable, you know, so I'm like peeling back an onion. Like, I'm proud to be me, you know, and it's okay now, you know. And before it wasn't, you know. It is, you know, you kind of create an identity around you of what people want to see, you know, from a kid. You know, I'm 42, 43. I've shared these, like I told you, I've shared these stories to, you know, in different levels, you know. I've never been dishonest with everything, you know, and I'm just tired, you know.
Yeah.
I'm tired in a good way, in a very good way, you know. I just wanted to, like I said, I want to peel back the onion and just be real with you, because I think what you guys are doing is amazing as well.
Thank you.
You know, and I think that if someone can hear this story and the presenters can hear this, or if a kid can hear this, or somebody that's going through something that can relate to me not being on, but being real more and being myself. I know people are hearing my passion and what I'm about and what we represent. I'm going into like pitching mode.
Yeah.
Like
Well, here, so this is actually good. This is because I do want you to get into pitch mode here a little bit. So first, like, why do you do what you do? Like, why do you continue on, you know, running and producing Fly Dance Company? Like, what is that purpose of that for you?
Yeah, it saved my life. It saved my life, period, you know? And the reason why I do what I do now is because there's a bunch of Georges out there, or Jorge's out there, or Kevin's out there, right? You know, might be lost if they're not working with a group like us. You know, might not have a place to perform, or, you know, I just see myself in them. You know, I'm just very passionate because I know what it meant to me, you know? Like, to in a nutshell, it's like, those are my experiences and my life, the way it pushed me into this or allowed me to become this person standing in front of you. I wasn't always this person, you know. Had a lot of, and I still deal with a lot of different things, right? But I think for the most part, it's like, if we can make a difference, we can plant a seed, you know what I mean, into these kids, and maybe tomorrow they might not get it. And then hip-hop, for me, you know, it's something that I'm passionate about. And I was touching on the drill music and where it's at. For us, it was the gangster rap, and now it's a drill, right? So it's just like the youth is, we're move forward so many things, and then we move back again. And I feel with this right here, even though it is the voice of this youth and the social media stuff that's happened, it's just we need it now more than ever. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I just want to be able to provide opportunities and give it and do what Kathy did for me. You know, give them an opportunity and show them and travel and perform around the world and take these kids from these neighborhoods, you know, and put them on, you know, and show them and teach them and pass it and pay it forward. Like, I don't want to have fly and own it forever. I want to pass it on to one of my guys, you know, and be like, here you go.
Keep it going the way that Kathy did. Like, just
1,000%.
Yeah. I mean, it's the things that you help create, that you build. I mean, you know, in some essence, what you're doing right now, like, it's creating legacy. And that's huge and sort of heady to think about, like, you know, like a heavy thing to consider.
Kevin, I was thinking about this. I went from Handcuffs to Cufflinks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it is really crazy and sort of bizarre to think about that, you know, doing what you're doing right now has allowed you to travel and, you know, see different parts of the world. And when you first started, like, it was what was getting you arrested, which is there's a whole lot to unpack in that one single statement that I don't know that I
like 20 podcasts.
I don't know that we have the time or like if I have even the knowledge to really go there.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jorge, it's a really fascinating story, like just from beginning to end. If I take you back to, say, the first time you're working with Kathy, you know, at the 15-minute, you know, on the Tuesdays. Yeah. If I can take you back to that first meeting, what would you tell your younger self?
Shut up and listen.
That's perfect.
I'm telling you, because I was such a headache to Kathy, man. You know, because it's just like I was always fighting for the group, you know. And even though she was doing so much for us, you start slipping into that, you know. But I would just tell myself, shut up and listen, you know, and just shut up and listen. Because I was, but what about this? What about that? You know? And sometimes I get frustrated with our students or with our guys but I put myself in their shoes and I can get it off. I want to do this, you know. But yeah, just listen.
Is that the same advice that you would give to somebody, say, around that, you know, 14 to 16 age that maybe wants to get to where you are? What's the advice you would give that person?
I would say that have patience. Enjoy being a kid. Enjoy being 14. You know, we had to grow up quick because of our environment. And I think now these kids want to grow up quick because they're trying to be what's on social media. So I would tell a 14-year-old, you know, as long as it's positive, give it a chance. You know, be a kid. Don't be in a hurry to grow up. It was a fun time, you know. Like, I remember just you know, like not having to worry to pay bills and the stress. Like,
God, if I could go back to that.
You know, it's just like it was just a great time, you know. Like, you know, it was just, I don't know, like, you know, if you're 14, you're listening to this, you're not gonna be good at a lot of stuff, you know. You might not ever have, you know, or feel like you're good enough, but know that you're an amazing person and that you're perfect the way you are, and nobody has to understand. You don't have to tell everybody what you're doing. Just focus and know that you're loved. Know that people care about you, even if it's just you. You know? Because I care about you. That's why I'm out here.
It's perfect. Jorge, thank you. Thank you for taking the time. Thanks for having this conversation. Thank you for being very open and very honest today.
Thank you, Kevin.
First of all, I just have to say, Jorge is an amazing storyteller. I so enjoyed this conversation, and I could just listen to him talk about his life and career and his art all day long. I just enjoyed how expressive he is and how much of a flow he had while you were having your conversation. And I also really appreciated how transparent and vulnerable Jorge was during this conversation.
I love the example of how the arts can truly change a life. The same thing happened for me, in all honesty. Like, going into high school, coming out of junior high, all of the people that I hung out with in junior high are either in prison or gone at this point. and I'm the only one left. But the reason is getting into high school, I found theater and never looked back, and also never hung around with those friends again because I found the arts, and it really turned my life around at that point.
Yeah, listening to a story brought me back to when I was little, hanging out on the streets with my friends. And I remember when breakdancing was huge and roller skating and all that whole scene, that whole hip hop scene. I was not a part of it. I was a little too young, but definitely was influenced and inspired by it. And just like Jorge, I'd go home and try the moves in my bedroom by myself. And, when we get together with our friends, we'd try to do what the big kids were doing. And it's just amazing that kind of positive influence that the arts can have. And I love how Jorge recognizes that, is appreciative of that, and wants to give back and be that for the next generation. I think just everything about this was so inspirational and so amazing.
And let's talk about how incredible Kathy was, standing up to the police, and all of a sudden saying, yes, he's part of my group when there wasn't a group.
Yeah, I think it's really clear, like in this conversation, the conversations that I've had with Jorge since then, is that like there's a lot of love there for Kathy, and just like understanding the level of impact a single person can have on your life, or how much impact you can have on someone else's life, is really a key takeaway from this. Like, I mean, she changed not only his life, but the life of hundreds of other kids.
Yeah, so this episode really hit me like a ton of bricks. Like Katie said earlier, Jorge's storytelling ability is incredible. But I also think that's sort of why it left me just kind of really heartbroken afterwards. And the thing that really hits me is that, like, I don't remember enough how much privilege I have to just walk around in the world, and like your ability to change the trajectory of someone's day or someone's month or someone's year is incredible, just by the simple fact of you saying something versus somebody that doesn't look like us saying, something, and how we can act in a situation versus how they need to act. And, when I was growing up, like, the art that I was making wasn't being criminalized. I mean, like, that's a system of police and school kind of working together to try and outlaw a type of artistic expression. I mean, that's so deeply fundamentally wrong, immoral, un-American, and terrible. And, being able to hear this story so many years later, it has that feel good story kind of feeling, but it's like, there's so many situations in his story where it could have changed and it could have turned. And it breaks my heart just really to kind of think about everything that has kind of had to happen for certain art to be on our stages.
Yeah, I also think, Danielle, that you're right. I mean, that it definitely could have gone a different way. And Jorge talks about that, and just the friends that he had that were in that culture that didn't get to be where he is now. And I think that Jorge does a really good job of like telling this story, because obviously, like, it is his story. There's a lot that he had to go through to get there. And there's a lot of things that culture is still facing. I mean, there's still things that are criminalized about, graffiti art and breakdancing and those sort of things that, that they still struggle with to get recognition in a lot of communities and a lot of stages.
I really enjoyed the part about thinking about legacy when you were talking about the legacy of the company and passing it down from kind of generation to generation, and Jorge's generousness of spirit in thinking about this isn't really his. He is stewarding it. He's shepherding it in this moment, but he wants to pass it on to the next guy from the troop, right? The next troop member that is going to lead it next. And I thought that was something that we all should be thinking about in terms of what we're doing in our venues and the art that we're promoting and the community programs that we're developing. Like, what is the legacy that we want to leave as arts administrators, and what sort of impact do we want to have on our communities in that way? So it got my wheels turning a little bit in thinking about legacy.
And the legacy is also setting up the next generation to change what we've done and to make it fit their current constraints. And, I think legacy sometimes feels like this thing that needs to stay the same, where, it should be something that evolves and changes and grows.
Jorge obviously had a lot of really great things to say in this. And just like many of you said, he's a great storyteller. I really enjoyed having a few minutes to talk with him at Max when I met him. But in this story with Kevin, I don't know, I just beamed for him when he talked about that moment when he was sticking his head out the window in New York City and he sees his friend and his friend's like, don't say it. That was just, I love that moment. That was so wonderful.
I think it's a really beautiful thing. I love seeing other people achieve what they set out to do and have that moment of joy.
And then be able to use that moment to actually dog your friend. Sounds amazing.
Let's talk for just a second, though, about Jorge when he was talking with the principal. And the principal was like, hey, I want you to do a performance. And he was like, it's going to cost you some Gatorade and some T-shirts. I love that conversation you had around knowing your worth and advocating for your people, right? And he inherently knew that from a very young age. And I think it just demonstrates his kind of business savvy from a young age and his leadership skills and also his resilience. Throughout this whole story, I kept thinking about how resilient he was because from the moment he learned about breakdancing and started practicing with his friends and then turning it into an art form of his own, there were so many obstacles in the way. But now he runs a very successful dance company in his chosen art form. So I think he deserves so much recognition and credit for that. And I think is a wonderful example of how to keep going after your dream, even when it's not the easiest thing.
Jorge, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule at APAP to sit down with me. And thank you for being completely transparent, open, and honest during this conversation. It was a heavy conversation at times, but I always enjoyed catching up with you. So thank you again, and we'll see you next time on There's No Business Like.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening to There's No Business Like. Our producers and hosts are Brian Zelmer, Josh Benson, Kevin Maynard, Katie Miller, and me, Danielle Van Hook. Views expressed in this podcast are ours alone and are not reflective of the organizations we are a part of. Keep up with us at nobusinesslike.com. There you'll find links to all of our episodes and socials. If you like this podcast, give us a like, a follow, a review, or our favorite, a 5-star rating. Oh, wait, what was that site? I got it, don't worry. It is nobusinesslike.com. Do I sound out bus-I-ness every time I type it? Yep, sure do. Stay in touch, my friends.
We're professionals, Kevin. Once we go, we go.
Hey, I'm going to have to step out for a second.
Okay.
The timing on that could not have been better.
What did you just check off of your list?
The recording.
Yeah,
What'd
what
you
are
check
checking
off?
Kevin? I'm checking you off. Do that to me. I'll do it right back, mister.
I didn't check off anything. I actually just
Duly noted.
No, I'm debating if I can just tell people I'm not feeling well and get out of here.
So you're just like writing a doctor's note.
Yeah, Dr. Kevin says Kevin can leave. Definitely a real doctor.
There's a check mark in everything.
Check mark is sick.
Meh.